So today I am going to get a bit fancy and try out a bit of choux pastry, which is a type of French pastry. And choux actually just means cabbage. I think something to do with some sort of large cream puff profiterole looking a bit like a cabbage. So this was a request from the fabulous Mrs. Sarah Page, who is a brilliant baker and mother of my best friend, so all-round babe. So this is for you. It's not one of my fortes, the fancy choux, but you know, we can make this happen. We're all learning, we're all doing things, trying new stuff. So choux pastry is used to make a variety of things that you're probably very familiar with. Eclairs, profiteroles, croquembouche, which means crunch in the mouth, which is like the tower of them, or the religieuses, if I'm saying that right. And also the one that we're going to go for, which is the Paris-Brest. So this came about later, and it is something to do with the French bicycle race, but not the Tour de France, a different one. They love their bicycles. So this is meant to represent a bicycle wheel in its round shape. Doesn't actually have anything to do with breasts. So let's start with what's in my pan. So I have in here, quite unappetizing looking, just some water and butter, with a pinch of sugar and a pinch of salt. So I'm going to put this over the heat and melt the butter and bring this all to a boil. When that's happened, I will bring it off, and that's when I will stir in my flour. I've opted for a strong white flour, but you know, whatever you've got going. So I'm then going to stir that in quite vigorously with my wooden spoon until it all comes together and it's coming away from the side and it becomes its own entity. And that's when we're going to leave it to cool, and then we'll come back to it and add the eggs. Okay? So I've just put it back on the heat for a couple of minutes to make sure the flour's all cooked out. Okay? And then just spread it out a bit, as it will cool faster. Papa! Okay, so that mixture cooled, and then I've added the egg to it. So top tip with this is that I like to beat my eggs beforehand, because obviously quite often they can vary in size. You may not need all of the egg mix, because if they're particularly large, you'll end up with an overly runny mix. Okay, but this was pretty good, and I just beat it in bit by bit, just a little bit, make sure it's all in, then the next little bit, you know, real gun workout. So you can see that's a really nice glossy consistency, but it's still sort of holding its own, so we can pipe it into a ring. Okay, so that's looking good. You can also, if you're feeling a bit lazy, do it in a machine. So next bit is we're gonna get this into a piping bag to make our wheel shape. Okay, so I have here my piping bag, and please do take note that it is a reusable piping bag. I think the kitchen is a really bad place where we maybe get a bit carried away with too many single-use plastics, and it's just not necessary. This is not expensive, you just rewash it, it can come with different nozzles, really easy. I think seeing as so many of us are spending more time in the kitchen at the moment, we can spend a bit more time thinking about ways to not use plastic. You know, wrap it in paper or put a lid on it or something like that. Or you know, the beeswax stuff is very good and you can make your own. But anyway, I'll just pop it in. So I have here my tray and my parchment that I've just drawn a circle onto, so I have something to follow. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with one and then I'll do another. Stroma. And then if you've got a little bit of mix left, you can just sort of pipe little profiteroles to have as extra, okay? So next we are going to do our egg wash. So that's just a beaten egg that we'll brush on top, and then I'm going to sprinkle it with some flaked almonds. Okay, hold on, I have to get my egg wash. Righty-ho, and I've got my oven at about 180 degrees because it's quite a hot one, so if yours is slightly on the colder side, you might want to go for more of a 200 degree. So brush that nicely, lovely golden yolks. This was a hen from our very own chicken, so she was very proud of it, made quite a noise about it actually. So brush, 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 nice and even. You want it to be lovely and golden. So we're going to bake it for probably about 45 minutes. And this is one of the things that is really important, that when you've got it in the oven, you do not open that door. You know, it's just got to carry on doing its thing. Because choux has so many wet ingredients, that's what makes it create steam, and then it puffs up. Really, it should be called puff pastry. But you know, I don't make the rules. Okay, so nice and brushed, and then just a liberal little sprinkling of flaked almonds. La-di-da-di-da. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Nutty, nutty goodness. Okay, and now, there we go. Let's pop it in the oven. No opening. Okay, so we baked it. I'm pretty happy with that, I must say. Lovely and golden. I mean, quite dark on the almonds, but you know, I don't mind. It's all good. So what I did was, when it came out the oven, I left it to cool for a moment, and then I split it in two. And then popped it back in the oven, because what we wanted was to just dry it out that extra bit more, because all the steamy wetness was inside, and we really wanted it to be nice and crispy. So I just popped it back in for 5 minutes, and now that's cooled again, so we're going to construct. So we'll pop our base on our plate. So I believe traditionally a Paris-Brest is filled with some sort of nutty praline custardy stuff, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make it a bit more spring and freshy, and I think you can fill it with whatever you like, with some profiteroles. I know at Quo Vadis, Jeremy is a fan of popping a ball of ice cream in the middle and slathering it with chocolate sauce. Or you can make a custard. I believe they call it a crème diplomate, which is a custard with cream folded through, which you can put in there. But I am opting for the spring version, so I'm going to go with a lemony, creamy, creme fraiche rhubarb filling. So we will start with lemon curd, and here are some I made earlier. Yes, I have this in the fridge. Lemon curd is super easy to make. You can find any recipe you like. It's literally just lemon juice, zest, sugar, butter in a pan, heat that up, then temper it into some eggs and egg yolks, cook it off till it's thick, done-de-done-de-done. So here we are, luscious and zesty. So I reckon I'm going to put a good layer of that on the bottom. And then I'm going to go with my cream, which I have also added a bit of creme fraiche to. I just like to do that with most creams because I just think it brightens it up a bit. You can pipe it if you like in your reusable piping bag, which you just have to wash up. But I think I am going to just blob it in there, a bit more gung-ho. So here I have my whipped cream and creme fraiche. Lovely. So we do want it to sort of hold its shape. Just whip it up there. So yeah, I'm just going to sort of blob it in, is the technical term, all around. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so that's all blobbed. And now I'm going to add some bits of rhubarb. So I just cooked this, splash of water, pass of sugar in the oven till they were nice and tender. So I'm just going to pop those on top. Comme ça. And then when they're all on, I'm just going to pop its lid on. Okay. Plop. So then I think a little dusting is in order. Oh yes, lovely little finishing touch there. Lovely. So you can obviously fill it with whatever you like. There's plenty of options, it's all up to you. Or just do anything you want with your choux pastry. So with my leftover choux, I made some little buns. So some little profiterole size ones, some larger ones, and if they sit on top of each other, that is a religieuse. I always like the look of them. It's like you had in the bakery in the Grand Budapest Hotel. Yes, so the recipe is below for you. I do also want to say, how much do we love my jazzy jingles by Juliet Jackson of the Big Moon. Fabulous. And if you have any other questions or queries, do let me know. Okie doke, tool pip.